right in. If you're a working DJ, you know the job is full of surprises, right? But tonight, we're talking about two kinds of challenges that are, well, they're on a whole other level. We're talking about the ones that make the hair on your arms stand up and the ones that just make your heart sink.
So let's start with this question. And yeah, it's a little tongue-in-cheek, but it gets to a really serious point. I mean, whether you're dealing with something supernatural or just a flat-out professional rejection, how you react to the unexpected, that's what separates the pros from the amateurs. So which one really haunts a DJ's career? Let's break it down. First up, let's talk about those gigs where these strange noises, they're not coming from your speakers. You might not think about it, but for some DJs, running into the paranormal is a very real, if very, very weird part of the job. I mean, check out this story from DJ Joe. He's working an event at the Queen Mary, which, you know, is famously haunted. He's setting up, his daughter puts her phone on a counter, and bam, it gets violently knocked to the floor. By nothing, by an unseen force. Is one of those moments that just makes you stop and ask, did I really just see that? It's a perfect example of how wild this job can get. And this wasn't just a one-off thing. DJ Mike tells a super similar story. He's at a gig in this old mansion, and he starts hearing chairs and tables literally moving around in the attic right above him. Now think about that for a second. This isn't just some creepy feeling. This is loud, physical chaos happening in a room that's supposed to be totally empty. So hearing these spooky stories is one thing, but what happens when that professional curiosity kicks in? This is where our whole story pivots, from just being a bystander to these weird events to actually trying to figure out what the heck is going on. And that brings us to Ron. He's a working DJ who, on the side, also runs a paranormal investigation team. He basically decided to take all that fear and confusion and channel it into a structured, professional search for answers. And this is how it all started for him. After a gig at a Masonic temple, Ron's backing up his van. He sees a tall guy in a trench coat and a top hat walk from his driver's side mirror over to his passenger side mirror. So Ron gets out of the van, to say something like, "Hey, watch out." And there's nobody there. Gone. The area was wide open. No way anyone could have disappeared that fast. And that single, chilling moment, that was the spark for everything that came next. And that one event wasn't just some spooky story he told his buddies. For him, it became a mission. You can see here, all in the same year, he goes from having this bizarre encounter to digging into local history and then to actually forming a whole team. He literally turned a moment of shock into a real, structured investigation. Now, here's the most important part of his whole approach. It's not about finding ghosts. It's about finding the truth. His team's process is super rigorous. They do a walkthrough, they interview the client, they use equipment like EMF detectors to see if there are fields that could cause hallucinations. But their number one goal, and this is key, is to debunk. They try their absolute best to find a logical, rational explanation for everything first. And you know what? That logical, professional process for dealing with something you can't see, it's the perfect framework for tackling a far more common phantom in the DJ business. The client who completely ghosts you or rejects you out of nowhere. The problem is different, for sure, but that need for a calm, methodical response, it's exactly the same. So let's switch gears and talk about getting turned down. It happens to literally every professional out there. But how you react to that now? Well, that's what really defines you. And if you handle it the right way, it can actually be a huge tool for growth. So when you get rejected, you've basically got two paths you can go down. On one side, you have this cautionary tale from DJ Sean about a DJ who, after a bride went with someone else, just harassed her. He was blowing up her DMs, demanding to know why she didn't pick him. It was totally unprofessional and, frankly, a little creepy. And then you have the pro response. You thank them for their time and you politely ask for feedback. A simple question like, "Hey, can I ask what the deciding factor was?" can turn that loss into incredibly valuable market research for your business. And look, there's not just one right way to do this. We can actually put together a whole playbook based on what these pros do. Ron, for example, uses rejection as a chance to plant a seed for the future. Sean uses it to get that critical marketing data. Dwayne keeps it efficient with a simple, canned response that wishes them well. And Joe reminds us all to just not take it personally. Focus on the connection. These are all totally valid professional ways to handle it. And this quote from DJ Nathan really hits the nail on the head. A lot of the time, getting rejected over price, it's not a reflection of your worth, not at all. It's all about knowing your value and having the confidence that the right clients will see that value and be happy to pay for your experience. So, when you boil it all down, whether you're dealing with a phantom in the ballroom or a client who disappears after getting a quote, the skill set you need is pretty much the same. It's about having a professional process to manage the unexpected with logic and, a little bit of grace. And right here, this is the ultimate power move. DJ Ron just flips the whole script. You gotta remember, you're evaluating the client just as much as they're evaluating you. And if they're not a good fit, if they don't value your expertise, or if you're just not feeling the vibe, you have every right to be the one to say, no thanks. Professionalism is a two-way street. So what's the bottom line here? What are the big takeaways? First, always, always be professional. Second, use every rejection as a chance to get feedback and get better. Third, know your value and don't be afraid to communicate it. And finally, remember that you have the power to walk away from a gig that isn't the right fit. It all comes down to having a process for whatever challenge comes your way. And really, that's the question I want to leave you with. It's not about if the unexpected is going to happen, it's when. Having a solid, professional framework to deal with it all is what's going to keep your business strong and thriving no matter what strange things or what tricky clients come your way.